imitation comes before creation. Project Firestart, the game I'm going to talk about today, is when horror games learned how to be like horror movies. And it's a real shame that nobody knows about it. Lots of video games take cues from Ridley Scott's Alien movies, things like Dead Space, that. If Project Firestart only paid lip service to these films, it wouldn't be that remarkable. Because it's not just the imagery of Alien that's upsetting, otherwise Contra would be here on the list. It's the atmosphere of that movie, it's the pacing. And throughout the 80s, games really struggled with atmosphere and pacing. And in 1989, which was well after the Commodore 64's heyday, Dynamics and Electronic Arts released the first game that knew how to be scary. It doesn't just throw spiders and pumpkins on the screen as signifiers saying, "Ooh, this is scary." It actually builds tension, and it makes you feel isolated and helpless. It shows you a pile of bodies and lets you dangle for a while, wondering just what the hell could have done this. Here's how it goes. In 2061, the research vessel Prometheus has gone offline. They were attempting to create these durable and obedient mine workers by hybridizing human DNA with alien fungus. Pretty sketchy already, but then one guy tried to make super soldiers, and that goes just about how you'd expect. You play as John Hawking, this hotshot agent from the United System States, sent to retrieve some research data and rig the self-destruct system to blow. And if you don't accomplish this within a limited amount of time, the USS will nuke the ship in orbit in order to contain the threat. This game is quite short, and you're unlikely to hit the time limit even if you spend a lot of time exploring, which you should. Instead, the clock matters because things happen whether or not you're present. Like Maniac Mansion, cutscenes trigger at certain intervals, and they always introduce changes that are detrimental to your mission. The earliest portion of the game is eerily quiet, as you explore the ship and get some glimpses of the carnage before actually finding the source. And when the monsters decide to reveal themselves, they're everywhere, and they don't bother to knock. I mean, seriously, some of the scariest moments in this game come when the monsters barge in on you. That's some Resident Evil 3 stuff. I thought doors meant something, Nowadays, we take it for granted that horror games will disempower you and de-emphasize combat, but that's part of what makes Project Firestart so remarkable for its time. It's an alien-inspired game that's not run and gun, right? It doesn't just force you to tappa. No, to avoid explosive decompression, you're limited to these really weak energy guns. There's no stopping power whatsoever, and their range is really dinky. And ammo is scarce, and so is health. Outside of the med lab at least. So Alone in the Dark, please move over because Project Firestart did a lot of this stuff first. Even crazier, and this is late in the game, but Dynamics gives you a full-blown nemesis figure, showing an understanding that this implacable slasher monster is a perfect way to light a fire under the player. So a good way into the mission, you'll see cutscenes of the fungus soldiers kind of attending to raising and hatching this egg. It's kind of heartwarming, actually. And from this egg, a monster appears. This is a special monster that is as fast as you, and it is impervious to lasers. And it comes right at you. So you need to rely on knowledge gained from exploring the ship to figure out how to use the ship and its systems against it. Again, guns are useless. So you have to go to particular rooms, and there are lots of ways to do this. You can blast it with radiation, lock it in monster jail, or even just blow it up with the armory. Like, there's more than that, but this is really cool. While the chase is fairly unfair, since instant death is never fun and you're going to die to this guy quite a bit, it's really hard not to be in awe of this decision. Again, they're demonstrating an understanding of horror movies, because it's really satisfying when a hero thinks around corners to outclever this unstoppable foe. And as neat as all of that is, if the story was just man with gun avoids being eaten, it'd ring pretty hollow, right? There needs to be some human drama. And that's where the other two survivors come in. So the first is Mary. She's a woman who only avoided catastrophe by coincidentally being in cryosleep when the outbreak happened. She was recovering from an injury before the whole thing went down. If you don't find her and help her, and you only have a limited amount of time to do that, the game goes out of its way to make you feel really bad about it. But if you do find her, you can get her off of the ship by escorting her to a garbage pod and then blasting her into space, to be rescued later, obviously. The other survivor was also in a cryopod, but he gets loose before you arrive to save Mary. This is Dr. Anar, and he is the immoral scientist who headed up Project Firestart, again, human-fungus hybrids, and kind of started this whole catastrophe. About midway through the mission, he will blow up your shuttle, forcing you to find a new way to escape. Kind of a dick move. As if that wasn't enough, he also cuts the power to the Prometheus itself, forcing you to navigate to the engine rooms in the dark to put the lights back on. He reveals his motives to you in the ending when you try to escape on a spare shuttle that you find. He is going to steal his research data back from you, either to sell or to protect himself from punishment at the hands of the USS. A well-timed tackle incapacitates him, and John Hawking reports back to the mothership to brag on his success. And if he saved Mary during this, he gets maximum smooches. With all this praise, it's important to remember, especially if you're going to go play this yourself, that it's a pretty unfriendly game. It is meant to be played multiple times, it's a bit trial and error, it's certainly of its time. And there are places where its tortured development cycle really show through. But it's really amazing that the team was able to accomplish so much with so little. Again, the Commodore 64 was pretty old by this point. They even managed to make the ship feel human and lived in, because they're not afraid to show you rooms that are useless to the mission, but still build the world. Part of the reason this game languished in obscurity is because EA didn't advertise it very much. But when they did, they said that it's more than a game, it is a horror movie in outer space. And they pulled it off. That's crazy. The designers knew how to build a scary world by learning from horror movies, and pulling tricks that before this kind of seemed anathema to fun play. It takes confidence and knowledge to understand the potential horror found in silence, and to make you spend half of your game just wondering what the hell's going on without firing a single shot. Thank you so much for watching. You can read more retrospective articles at hexcrank.com, and please take a look at patreon.com/hexcrank to support my work and to be featured in the credits of a future video.